Well, it's that time of year, September. Everything's coming at once. Millions of plums. Potatoes need digging up. Brambles everywhere by the thousand. The mushroom season. But today it's beetroot. I don't like pickled beetroot, and I've got a raw beetroot out in the garden there which I need to pick, and I'll pickle them today. The first thing I need to do is make some spiced vinegar. Just tipping ordinary vinegar in there's a very miserable taste. So we'll just go and make this spiced vinegar first of all, and then we'll go on and get these beetroot out of the ground. You don't want to leave them in too long. If they get to be too big, they end up fibrous, which is what you don't really want. But it hasn't been a very good year for beetroot. It was very cold and dry early on in the summer, and so they've only really put some growth on latterly. Anyway, let's go and do that. I'm very fond of beetroot. I like pickled beetroot. I don't like it as a vegetable, but as a pickle it's very nice. The recipe on which these are based comes next, but because I've got far more beetroot than the recipe states, I just messed about with it, and anyway, that's where we're at. So I've got there a gallon of distilled malt vinegar, which is clear. I mean, you can just use ordinary malt vinegar, which is brown, or you can use some fancy vinegar like cider vinegar or whatever other vinegars there are, but they're quite expensive, and for beetroot I don't think it really matters. And I quite like the very sharp taste of malt vinegar anyway. It goes well with fish and chips. But of course it needs to be spiced. Just using straight malt vinegar it doesn't leave a very pleasant taste. It's a bit harsh. So we need to add some spices. Now there is a recipe which I'll put on the video, and it has a list of spices which you can use to make your own spiced vinegar. But I'm very lucky in that just down the road is a shop that sells pickling spice, and it contains those ingredients there. It's quite useful because you buy these things in jars and they sit on your shelves for years. I mean, I've got some stuff in the cupboard there which is probably older than most of you and wants chucking in the bin. So this is ideal. They've already made it up for you. And I've got 2 of these for this gallon. As I said to the fella, how much vinegar does this do? He said, well, it depends how spicy you want it. Which seems a perfectly sensible reply. So I've got 2 of these for this gallon. So I need to boil these spices in that vinegar for about 10 minutes. So you need to wrap the spices in some kind of cloth. This is stockinette, but you could use any loose cloth. Muslin would do, butter muslin would do, but this is ideal because it's like circular, so you just tie one end off, tip the spices in, tie the other end off, and that's it. You can't boil vinegar in aluminium or copper pans, so you can't use that aluminium jam pan. Otherwise the acetic acid, which is what vinegar is, just dissolves some of the metal and you get a metallic taste. So you need a big stainless steel pan. So I've got a stainless steel pan now, which is absolutely ideal for all sorts of jobs. They used to be tremendously expensive things, these, but now I think they're made in the Far East now, so they're not wildly expensive, and a very useful addition if you're into making large amounts of jam or soup, or in my case spiced vinegar. So I've got my spices all tied up in this little piece of stockinette so that the vinegar can permeate that. So I'll just put that in the pan. So there's the vinegar in the pan. I just need to bring it up to the boil and then just simmer it for about 10 minutes. You can use it more or less straight away, but if you leave the bag in, you can leave it in for up to a month, and but at the end of the month you should really take it out. I mean, I normally just use it straight away, so it'll take a while to bring to the boil a gallon of vinegar, but there we are. So the vinegar has just got to boil. I'm just simmering it now. I just want to squeeze the air out of this thing here so that it sinks. It's submerged anyway, that will do it. And I just leave that for 10 minutes. Well, all that spiced vinegar there is just sitting. I've switched it off now, but I'll just leave the bag in and just leave it sort of infusing into the vinegar. It tastes very, very strong. We'll have to go and pick this beetroot. So I'll wander out and do that now. So this is the raw beetroot, which needs picking. Now, if you're new to this caper, it's very tempting just to cut the top off the beetroot, but when you do that, when you boil the beetroot, the juice leaks out into the water and the beetroot becomes quite pale. So you just screw the leaves off the top like that. You can just trim the root off, but don't cut into the beet itself, just trim the root off. And then they all need washing, of course. When they get to be great big things like this, they're too fibrous to pickle, so I just bin them, just chuck them on the compost heap. Well, that's not bad, it's not brilliant. It was a cold, dry spring, so they didn't get away very well. But anyway, they don't look too bad, and there's enough there. All I need to do now is to wash them and just snip the tails off, and then take them in to boil. Well, that's them all tailed. Just snip the tail off, you can see it there. And ready to boil. When I'm boiling them, I tend to put all the big ones in one pan and the small ones in another pan. Otherwise, if you wait till the big ones are ready, the small ones are too soft. And it's just plain water, there's nothing in the water at all. So we'll boil away. It takes about half an hour, but it depends how hard you like the beetroot. You don't want it too soft, and you don't want it too hard either, so you just need to test them with a fork. You need to sort of, to use that modern parlance, al dente, just sort of firm to the bite, but not crunchy. Because with it taking half an hour, the water level will fall and you have to keep topping it up. I just top it up out the kettle. Well, you need a lot of jars for this. I'm not sure that this is necessary, but they need to be heated up in the oven because you put hot vinegar in them. Just looking at this vinegar, I suspect that you could just put the beetroot in the jars and pour it on cold. I don't think. I think this beetroot, I think this vinegar would kill anything off that was in there, fungus and bacteria. But we'll stick with convention and we'll preheat the jars and use hot vinegar. So I'll put these jars in the oven, take the lids off, put these jars in the oven at about 130, 140. And of course you need lids which have a plastic lining inside. If it's just bare metal, the vinegar will just eat into it and all that will be ruined. Let's get the jars in the oven. Well, they're now boiling, so I just want to turn that heat down so they're just simmering, and then set an alarm for 15 minutes. It's so easy to sit down and start reading the paper before you know where you are. More than half an hour's gone and all your efforts have gone to waste as your beetroot are all mushy. So I'll just set it for 15 minutes and then come back and continue to do that until they're ready. So after 15 minutes I'll just set the alarm every 5 minutes and then come back and check. So there we are, it's set. The important thing is when it goes off, is not to ignore it. Especially with a memory like mine. Once they're cooked, the skin just rubs off. So you need to remove all the skins. They're all skinned now, and it's at this point I just slice the top off, which I don't really want. So this bit here, I'll just slice that off, and then slice the beetroot ready for putting into jars. If you've got one of these egg slicers, apparently it works quite well, but I think some of these beetroot are too big, and egg slicer cuts them a bit thin. So I just slice it with a knife. Well, that's all sliced, the top's removed. It just needs packing into jars now and a vinegar pouring on the top. Well, these I've just put the spiced vinegar in, and I'll screw the tops on them and that'll be them finished. But these on this side, there's 5 of them. I'm going to make some sweet spiced vinegar, so you get a sort of sweeter taste. It's not quite as raw or as harsh as the straight spiced vinegar. And to do that you need 3.5 cups of sugar to half a gallon of spiced vinegar. Now it says cups, you never know. I mean, cups come in a multitude of sizes. You never know how much it means. This is actually a standard cup measure, which is 250 millilitres. And I've poured one of them into this large mug, so it's basically half a mug full of sugar, makes up 1 cup. So I'm going to put 3.5 of these into what's left of this spiced vinegar, which I'll then use to top up these 5 jars here and just see what difference it makes. So there it is. We have 15 jars of beetroot and 4 hours ago were in the ground, so that's not bad at all. And I mustn't forget to label these, because these are the ones which have the sweetened spiced vinegar in them, and just put a date on the others. It's pretty obvious it's beetroot inside the jar. And I still have probably almost half a gallon of spiced vinegar left, so I could probably have done that with just half a gallon of spiced vinegar. Anyway, I'm sure it will keep. I'll just shove it back in the plastic container and use it for something else later. So, that wasn't a bad day. Yesterday mushroom soup, today beetroot. Tomorrow cutting the grass. And then the hedges are cut, and then hopefully I'll be able to get back to doing some fishing. But for now, if you decide to tackle the challenge of cooking beetroot, then that's about as simple as it gets. Now I've just got to clean up the pink and purple spots all over the place. Cheerio.